hope you're ready to dive into the deepest depths of the true siren in astrology. Hola, beautiful souls. Welcome back or welcome to my channel, where we aim to use astrology, spirituality, and wellness as self-development tools to become our highest selves every day. If that sounds like something you're interested in, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos like this one, and so I know that you want future videos like this one. And follow me on Instagram for more background, personal, and astrology and wellness content. Today's video is all about having your sun in Pisces. I feel like the sun often gets overlooked in modern astrology as not being that important. Whereas all of the personal planets are highly important to who we are, the sun is our soul. It is what we always connect back to in this lifetime. Therefore, it is at the center of our lives. It always will be, and nothing can negate that. So it's important that we know, that we truly know our sun signs. So that's what we'll be covering today. We'll start off with an introduction to the sun in astrology and what it means. I highly recommend listening to that so you better understand how this placement works for you. Then we're going to go into general traits of a Pisces sun, and we'll finish off with a couple empowering tips, because I don't just like to overwhelm you with information. I like to give you active steps to use the information to empower your life. First, let's talk about what the sun means in astrology. The sun is one of the 2 luminaries in astrology that are considered one of the 9 planets in astrology that shape who we are. The sun is considered the planet of our individual identity and the ego self. The placement of the sun in our birth chart governs our identity as an individual, what makes us unique and separates us from everyone else. The symbol of the sun actually showcases this, as the circle itself represents infinity and everything being intertwined, whereas the dot in the middle represents the separate self. It is through our sun sign that we're able to uncover our personal identity, who we truly are at our core, without the influence of anything or anyone else. It indicates where we find our sense of personal power, purpose, and overall direction in life. The sun gives life, so the sun sign is what gives us life, what makes us feel fulfilled, and what makes us glow. The sun is literally where we derive our life force energy. Now, let's talk about the general traits of somebody who has sun in Pisces. Before we dive into the traits, it's important to remember that Pisces is the mutable water sign, ruled by Neptune, co-ruled by Jupiter, symbolized by the 2 fish. Number 1, Pisces is often considered the true elder old soul of the zodiac. Because Pisces resides in its position as the 12th and final sign of the zodiac wheel before a new cycle begins, it encompasses the lessons of every other sign in astrology. This can often make a Pisces difficult for others to detect, as they carry so many various energies, lessons, and wisdom within themselves. However, this can also cause them to suffer at the hands of all these lessons as well if they aren't careful. These lessons must be integrated into the Pisceans' lives, or else they may drive them to insanity. And this is part of the mission of having the sun in Pisces, to integrate and encompass all the lessons and embrace their ability to transcend in ways that others may not be able to. It's as if they are the keeper of all wisdom of the universe, but they have to allow themselves to be. Even if the Pisces chooses not to integrate this life knowledge and this innate wisdom into their lives and actually transcend all the lower desires, they will always be haunted by an innate knowing that they need to transcend something. This can contribute to Pisces feeling kind of like an outcast in a lot of situations, because they will always have this haunting feeling that there is something greater or something deeper to everything that they're experiencing and to life in general. Yet, a lot of Pisces, out of fear of this knowledge, out of fear of this deeper realm in life, they will try their best to distract themselves with an ignorance is bliss type mindset, but they just cannot. It is a Pisces soul to explore those deeper depths and to really embrace that deeper wisdom that life has to hold for them, especially through the turbulent obstacles and the hardships that they may experience. But depending on how they choose to react to this inner knowing will dictate the path that their lives end up taking. They can go down the typical path of hardship, vices, and victimhood in order to try and escape this inner knowing, or they can use it to actually transcend into higher realms of existence. And it's in doing this that they manifest abundance and they become almost an angelic like being to be around. And it's because they have this power of knowledge that they're just born with, whether they choose to become conscious of it or not, and whether they choose to embrace it once they are conscious of it. It goes without saying that they have a different mission than somebody like an Aries sun, for example. So a Pisces soul is always going to resonate with the deeper parts of life. And because of that, they're not going to be able to have the same karma of a younger sign. So with Aries sun, for example, Aries sun signs are known as the infants of the zodiac, whereas Pisces is known as the elder, the old soul. And that's because Aries begins the next cycle. They are the first sign as opposed to the last. So they are like the infant that's born into the world with this air of innocence, and they are meant to stumble through life. Aries takes a lot of initiative to experience things and advance things and move forward, and that's because they don't need to be so afraid of failure. That falling on their face and getting back up as they learn to walk is part of their life's mission. So they have a different karma. Pisces is an old soul that should know better. So because they should know better, if they choose consciously to make these mistakes and to be ignorant of things in life that they shouldn't be ignorant of, it's likely going to come back. You may have heard before that Pisces is a very karmic sign, and this is very much true. A lot of the older signs have a very strong karmic energy that they carry with them. With Pisces specifically, this karma tends to showcase itself the most if they are choosing ignorance over wisdom and knowledge. Number 2, Pisces are often considered the elusive mystic, the siren, and or dreamer of astrology, but their elusive nature goes so much deeper than these titles alone. As the sign ruled by the mystic, frigidly volatile planet Neptune and the intimidatingly massive, expansive planet Jupiter, we have an individual who feels an innate need for ascension and expansion of the spirit. Jupiter craves and values higher knowledge, whereas Neptune is naturally connected to the spirit realms and the realm of the unconscious. It is also this intangible connection to the unseen realms of life that can add to Pisces' mysticism from the outside looking in. Oftentimes, the lore of the siren is associated with Pisces because this Neptunian nature of theirs is not only connected to the mysterious wonders and vastness of the ocean, but it is also associated with someone who appears quite soft and ethereal, yet often holds unimaginable darkness that many will not understand. They may intentionally or unintentionally allure people in with an aura that feels otherworldly, sparking intrigue in others naturally, only for those people to find out that they are unprepared for the level of intricacy, darkness, and murkiness that Piscean waters can contain. But where there is so much shadow, there is equally just as much light. And Pisces constantly traverse both sides of the spectrum. It can be equal parts challenging and enlightening for a Pisces to embrace their challenge to balance between the dark and the light. Essentially, Pisces is a representation of the yin and yang energy and having equal parts of both. And part of their soul's fulfillment in this lifetime is finding a balance between those two energies, because both are very potent within the Pisces, which again, a Pisces being the 12th sign, they embody all the energies, and all those energies combine to make the yin and the yang. But one of the largest reasons for this internal challenge that a Pisces sun can face is because of the fact that the sun and Neptune are coming into contact here. When you have your sun in Pisces, the sun is being influenced or trying to influence Neptune. Neptune is such a different planet than the sun. The sun aims to radiate warmth, light, to shine light upon the darkness and to make things glow and to add energy and vitality to everything. Whereas Neptune is so cold and frigid and mysterious, and a lot of it is uncovered. It's within darkness that we can't quite detect what's there. But the sun shines light and reveals everything, whereas Neptune hides things. Therefore, the sun also brings with it an energetic desire to illuminate and infuse the soul's purpose with energy, focus, and ambition, especially in the physical realm. Whereas Neptune brings a desire to turn within, transcend, and simply remain fluid to the ebbs and flows of life. This can contribute to why Pisces tend to be notoriously tired and exhausted because the sun and Neptune are really fighting. They have opposing natures. The sun is energy and Neptune is turning within and reflecting and relaxing essentially. But this is also because Neptune connects Pisces to the nature of escapism, a word that we have probably heard 1,000,001 times when talking about Pisces energy, but that's because it is highly relevant, especially to the Pisces sun, which is directly connected to our soul's true essence, what our soul craves, and what it needs in our lifetime. It's important that we also don't forget Jupiter's contribution here as well, channeling into Pisces an even greater desire to expand beyond the physical realm through spiritual and higher knowledge. As I mentioned earlier in the first trait, they can choose to go down a path of vices and victimhood and hardship, or they can choose to go down the path of embracing their inner knowledge. The sun brings light and sheds light on these escapist tendencies. What Neptune may try to hide, the sun is going to expose. This is a reason that Pisces suns can often be associated with acts of escapism or overindulgence in some way, because their internal battles tend to be put on the center stage of their lives because of the sun trying to illuminate and extract those things. So it can be hard for a Pisces sun to not fall victim to these vices, such as some type of substance abuse or perhaps some type of escapist tendency like hiding away in their room and just getting lost in video games and never doing anything that actually feels fulfilling and good for them. It can come in many forms. It's often through these toxic vices that a Pisces sun can end up deriving their greatest power and their greatest life lessons. Again, if they choose to. They have to choose to take the knowledge from these experiences and use it to empower and infuse their soul and infuse the sun with purpose. But these vices are often the greatest teacher for a Pisces to do so. These are the experiences and the tendencies that contain the most growth and expansion into the soul's purpose for a Pisces sun. Pisces sun signs often have a way of reflecting or quote-unquote mirroring others to themselves. Because Pisces is connected to the water element, they're a very fluid sign that's very intuitively connected to their emotional nature. They can often act as mirrors, like actual water-like reflections, and energetic sponges, meaning Pisces tend to naturally reflect someone's energy back at them. So how they react to someone or something may be heavily based on the energy they're receiving rather than the energy they actually feel within. Pisces doesn't always realize they're doing it, but there's a lot of times that Pisces will take the form of whoever they're around, the energy that they're around. And this comes from being a water sign. Water signs tend to be very in tune with the energetic environment, therefore being influenced by it in different ways. And with the Pisces, as opposed to the other two water signs, Pisces does not have any type of shell. They're fish. They're slippery. All they have are scales. And the only way that they can really defend themselves is to try and wriggle away somehow. They have to wriggle away frantically, and they have to rely on their swimming. Once they're in the water, they have to rely on their ability to escape. So if it's not through escapist tendencies, if it's not through the fish trying to run away, then they might try to mirror in order to deflect without, again, always realizing that they're doing it. This is also, in a way, kind of connected to the Pisces karmic energy as well, because there's a lot of times where, because a Pisces does this to people, because they kind of act as that energetic mirror, it will either infuriate somebody even more, or it can act as a catalyst to cause a lot of people to self-reflect when they never did before. Let me know in the comments if you experience what I'm about to talk about. But if you're a Pisces sun, you may have found that there's a lot of situations in your life where you came into contact with somebody, or you even built a relationship with somebody, especially if it was a deeply romantic one, and your presence in their life ended up being the catalyst for self-development and growth, even if it was at your own expense. Pisces is also associated with the martyr type. That's why Jesus is associated with Pisces. He's a symbol for Pisces because that's an example of the martyr. He didn't regret everything that he did, but it was through the way that he was that he caused a lot of people to, one, self-reflect and become his followers and want to learn from him, or two, infuriated the heck out of people and ended up dying because of it at his own expense. So if you're a Pisces sun, this may have been a common occurrence for you. And it again can be one of the things that makes Pisces feel quite isolated from everybody else, because it seems like they often serve as some type of catalyst, or they just don't fit in, or they infuriate people and they don't understand why. Number 4. With the seemingly endless expanse of the ocean's possibilities present in the energy of a Pisces, alongside their mutability, we also have someone that can comprehend and be sympathetic or empathetic towards so many various perspectives and ways of life. A Pisces sun that is not imprisoned by their own sense of victimhood is one that truly has the energy of a spiritual, energetic martyr, which again is why Jesus is often correlated with the Pisces Zodiac Sign. Although this sounds twisted and maybe a little bit concerning, it can be if the Pisces has not developed a healthy sense of boundaries and limitations with others. But it's actually what makes Pisces such a beautiful energy, often perceived as angelic, magical, and otherworldly, because oftentimes their inherent nature is to love others into healing or expansion. Again, this needs to be exercised with healthy boundaries, of course, and that can be a very big challenge for the Pisces sun is boundaries, but they are 100% the type of person that can look directly in the eyes of somebody who everybody considers a beast, and they can find what there is to love and to sympathize with within that beast. And that is truly what makes Pisces one of the most potentially beautiful energies, but it is in this ability to see the beast. Just for the sake of continuing that example, they can see the light within the beast. And because of that, they can be self-sacrificial, because doing so may bring pain to them. Being sympathetic towards maybe the underdogs or people who are misunderstood or people who are hurtful individuals, like they could be seen as evil by others. Having the ability to understand and sympathize with those people is just inherent to most Pisces. It's a way that their heart functions that they cannot help. In a way, it's fulfilling to them to be able to empathize and sympathize and understand perspectives that others are not able to. However, it can also bring a lot of pain and sadness into their lives as a byproduct. It's in that way that they can be self-sacrificial, even if they are exercising this gift in a healthy way. To better visualize what I mean by this, a lot of people associate Ariel with Pisces, and they consider Ariel one of the archetypes for Pisces. And whereas I can see why, I really do think we shouldn't overlook how much we can understand about the Pisces through Belle and her relationship with the beast. I truly believe that Belle's heart showcases the most basic principle of who a Pisces sun sign is and what their natural mode of living can be, and the beauty that can come from that gift that gift of empathy and love. Number 5, you may feel like you never know a Pisces fully and completely. It's often because of their natural ability to traverse two realms at once, dark and light, physical and spiritual, that they can be quite difficult for most to understand. And again, this takes us back to the symbol of the two fish. The two fish are somewhat representative of two different energies pulling at each other and trying to move in unison. It's also representative of the Pisces' abilities to traverse two different planes of being at once. They're often traversing opposite ends of the spectrum all the time. So there may be a sense that you can never quite pinpoint what it is with a Pisces, but you just don't fully understand them. And a lot of times the Pisces sun signs don't fully understand themselves either, to be quite honest. It can be difficult for them to also traverse themselves and traverse all the depths that's within themselves, and to try and explore those can be quite daunting for the Pisces themselves. I mean, when we think of the ocean, we think of a body of water so vast, holding so many life forms, harboring both twisted and triumphant histories, taking part in creating death and giving life simultaneously, volatile waters, smooth waters, and most importantly, depths that we cannot even fathom or explore. Depths that are left unexplored and cannot even be explored because it'll kill us. This is essentially the energy of the Piscean soul and what a Pisces sun tends to harbor within. Now for a couple empowering tips if you have sun in Pisces or if you know somebody who does. Number 1, they cannot stay in a victimhood mentality and hyper-focus on everything that is difficult. Now, it's kind of ironic that I put this empowering tip here because I feel like by this point in this video, a lot of Pisces suns might be looking at this quite pessimistically. I have such a difficult sun sign and this and that. I hope you're not looking at it that way, but it can be hard for Pisces. As a Pisces myself, I know it can be hard for us to see the light in things. We tend to constantly reside in the dark depths of the ocean, and it can be hard for us to see the little slivers of light that filter through the surface of the water. Pisces already contains so much of that dark depth, that vastness of the ocean once again, and to stay in those depths and to never try and recognize the light or recognize the good or even not remain present. Not remaining present and just deciding to stay in the dark and stay within escapist habits and unhealthy habits and toxic situations to distract yourself is where you're not going to derive your power. You're going to crush your soul. Again, we're talking about the sun. We're talking about your soul's essence. What makes you glow? What makes you shine? And these traits that we talked about are what make you shine. They do. Even if they are difficult to navigate, even if they are difficult to figure out. Things that are harder are oftentimes a lot better in their rewards. And that's just a fact. Things that are quick and easy are not as rewarding. They don't have the same results. With Pisces, a lot of things have to be slower and more present, and you have to really navigate your way through the mud. But that's why I love the symbol of the lotus flower, because lotuses grow through mud. And they're one of the most beautiful, well-known flowers and symbols for that reason. And I really associate Pisces with the lotus flower because it's important that Pisces remembers that it's through the mud that they find life and that they bloom into their most beautiful self. So you cannot wallow. A Pisces that wallows is one that stays in the lower frequencies. It's the Pisces that is going to stay in those toxic cycles and won't get to experience the beauty that this placement can bring. Pisces suns are so powerful and such a beautiful energy, but they have to get out of their own way first. In order to start doing this, I would highly recommend, if you're a Pisces sun watching this, that you start getting into grounding practices. Some type of practices that allow you to be present. This doesn't have to be necessarily a spiritual practice like meditation and whatnot, but it can be something that puts you back in tune with your surroundings and your body. It could even be like a nature walk of some kind, something that just makes you feel like you can ground yourself and you can look around and go, wow, I need to appreciate this moment. I need to appreciate that I'm breathing. I can appreciate the sunlight on my skin. I can appreciate the birds around me. That is where we can find a lot of magic in the Pisces sun, is through being present and grateful. Number 2, they need to have healthy escapism in their daily life. Now, as a Pisces, yes, there can be a tendency for Pisces suns to get lost in toxic escapist habits, but Pisces are still the sun sign of fantasy and dreams. Fantasy and dreams fuel our soul. Those unrealistic fantasies and visions and those fictional worlds that we can get lost in through games and books, etc. We need those. That's part of what lights us up and makes our sun happy and fuels our soul. And the more that our soul is well fueled, the more that we can move through this life positively and energized as a Pisces sun. So it's okay to indulge in your fantasy books and your fictional worlds and to draw. Maybe you love to draw in order to escape into fantasy, or watch certain fantasy movies or fictional series, whatever it is for you. Having that healthy form of escapism where you get to indulge in these other realms of life, these other realms of existence for even a short period of time is so important for your soul and therefore for your sun. It will make you so happy. If you have found that you haven't made time for these things, you need to make time for them regularly to fuel yourself and to feel to be your most empowered Piscean self. Now, for some of you, this may even be through spirituality. Some Pisces can tend to turn spirituality or faith of some kind into an unhealthy form of escapism, again, using it as an unhealthy outlet for everything or an unhealthy excuse for everything and kind of using it as a crutch. But if you're using it in a healthy manner and you know your spiritual routines or you have spiritual habits that you have strayed from because you don't have the time or you're too tired, no, you need to put those back into your routine. And this brings me back to routine. So having a routine as well can really help a Pisces stay on track and not get lost in the unhealthy habits that they can so easily get lost in, but also you can schedule in the healthy habits that fuel your soul if you have a routine. If you're always just going with the flow like Neptune and you're always just letting yourself ebb and flow and you never have any type of plan or any type of structure, you're more likely to get lost in the tendencies that are not serving you. So be sure you're starting small and allotting a certain amount of time every day for the things that fulfill you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so I know you want future videos like this one and I know that you liked this video. Leave a comment down below as well if you have a Pisces sun or if you know somebody who does and your personal experience, because I know I'm the teacher here, but I'm always learning. I'm also a student and I get to learn a lot when I talk to you guys about your personal experience with the placements I speak on. But until I see you next time, thank you so much again for being here. I look forward to seeing you in the future. Adios.